Today, I am talking to someone who's been on the direct book scene for some years now and is the founder of Boostly, which, of course, is Mark Simpson. We're going to be talking about the recent announcements from Airbnb. We're going to be talking about AI, of course. And as we get through the episode, Mark's going to help you create your own first custom GPT. This is the Vacation Rental Success Podcast, keeping you up to date with news, views, information and resources on this rapidly changing short-term rental business. I'm your host, Heather Bayer, and with 25 years of experience in this industry, I'm making sure you know what's hot, what's not, what's new, and what will help make your business a success. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vacation Rental Success Podcast. This is your host, Heather Bayer, and as ever, I am super delighted to be back with you once again. Now, if you've been anywhere near any vacation rental forums, hey, are forums still a thing? Do we still call them forums? Let's call them groups. If you've been anywhere near some of the vacation rental groups lately, wherever you hang out, or you're just scrolling around, you've probably seen the waves caused by Airbnb's latest announcement about services. There's a lot of noise out there, a lot of concern, and yes, there's a fair bit of frustration. So today I wanted to bring someone in who's never afraid to call it like it is, and who always brings the energy and insight to match. So Mark Simpson is the founder of Boostly and a longtime friend of the podcast. He's one of the strongest voices in the direct booking movement, but today we're not just talking about marketing. We're diving into what's really going on with Airbnb's new services, why hosts are feeling blindsided, and what you should be thinking about as you navigate these changes. Then we're going to switch gears to something a little bit more exciting, maybe? That's AI. Have you ever heard me mention AI before? If not, you've definitely not been listening to this podcast. So Mark has been not so quietly, building a community of short-term rental professionals who are using AI tools in incredibly creative ways. So from WhatsApp threads to Slack collaborations, he's really at the centre of a movement that's reshaping how hosts think about their productivity and their innovation. And then we move on in our conversation to talking about building some simple GPTs. You know, the kind that can actually save you hours of marketing time each week. And if you've ever felt curious but overwhelmed by AI, Mark breaks it down in his very usual no fluff style. So stick around because this episode is full of real talk. It's got a lot of practical takeaways and I know I'll be inspired, so maybe there's some inspiration for you to get thinking differently about the future of hosting and managing your vacation rentals. Let's get started. So I'm super delighted to have back with me once again Mark Simpson from Boostly. It's always lovely to get on one of these interviews and talk with somebody with a British accent. Not that I don't like American and Canadian accents, but, you know, it sort of makes me feel homey, if you like.
Homey, I was going to say homey, very, very homey. No, as it is nice. Always nice to chat to you, Heather, especially with right now what we're talking about a lot more, which is AI.
I know. I said that in my introduction, that today we're probably going to be talking about AI, and you've never heard me talk about this before, right? Yeah, I think, you know, my husband, my family, they just nod and smile when I come up with the latest, oh my God, wow. And I get this, yeah, we're not even going to ask you what you have just encountered, because it's bound to do with something that AI is shipping out.
Slowly spreading around our household. My 12-year-old uses it a lot. He started off by using it to draw funky Pokemon characters, but now he's like advanced it a little bit more. He's just literally done a little recipe downstairs he's been cooking, and he's used ChatGPT to get it together, a mixture of PT and YouTube to make some little cookies. So it's happening a lot. And my wife, we're starting to plan on making our next home move, because we've currently got 6 people living in a 3-bed house. And my wife's been going around all the rooms, taking pictures and asking ChatGPT, what should we do to this to make it more buyable, sellable? And so it's been given advice and stuff. So it's slowly spreading. I say at the moment, the most people who are into it are business owners and geeks. Those are the people, those are the 2 categories. But slowly but surely, it's going to start to seep into the day by day, the general consumer who are going to be using it, whether they realize it or not. And then when that happens, that's when this just goes like rocket fuel. So we are still so early in this. So even if you're just listening to this, you are still ahead of so many people.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just talk about kids. My 12, nearly 13-year-old granddaughter, I've noticed a GPT appeared in my account that is Aria's maths helper.
You know, ever since ChatGPT announced that their version has got memory, I kicked my wife and my kids out, because I don't want them getting in the way of what could be a very long relationship that I have with this ChatGPT account. And I want it to be able to just know me, not my 6-year-old or 9-year-old random. And the things that my 9-year-old asks, it's mostly Liverpool Football Club questions. That's pretty much it, to be perfectly honest. But I don't mind that. But heaven knows what my 6-year-old is asking it. So yeah, I kicked everybody out, and I said, right, this is just mine.
Yeah, and that's something that I've got to do, because Mike and I have been sort of sharing our, we called it our business account. And then I found I was doing a new bio, and it came up with, and I'd neglected to say, ignore anything about Mike. And it came up with, Heather has been active in the vacation rental business for 30 years and is a volunteer firefighter.
Brilliant.
So yes, that's something we've got to do shortly. I mean, we're no longer dabbling. It's once you start getting serious, you've got to think about these things. Yeah. So we're going to talk about AI today, but first of all, I wanted to get a bit current with you, Mark, on what's happening with Airbnb. There was news came out with their summer release. What is your take? Before that, I haven't even asked you to introduce yourself to the audience, because there may be people out there who don't know Mark Simpson. I think that's unlikely, but give it a quick whirl and give us your 1-minute spiel.
So for anybody who doesn't know who I am, I basically help Airbnb hosts make more money and get more bookings without relying on Airbnb. And I've been doing this for over 10 years now. I'm one of these rare breeds that was born into the world of hospitality, grew up into it, managed to escape for a little bit, but 2011 it dragged me straight back in, and ever since then I've been involved full time, from running a family business to now helping hosts all over the world, really. And it's an amazing place and where it's taken me, and I've got to speak on stages all over the world. I'm so very fortunate, and so now I'm very much in the AI rabbit hole and just sort of showing people how they can do all of this by using all the cool tools that are available to us now.
Oh, well done. That was a really good, less than a minute
There you go.
intro. And if anybody wants to know more about Mark and how he got into the business, I will put a link to the first episode we did with him way back, where he tells his story, and it really is a fascinating story. And I always love to hear these tales of the different ways that people got into the business. So Mark's is a good one.
We've got 4 or 5 now, I think, that we've done over time, and we've always been in different locations. Well, you mostly in different locations, depending on where you're traveling. But yeah, it's like my journey from like living in Spain to now being back in the UK, and yeah, it's fun. So yeah, go and check out those.
Yes, absolutely. So skipping back to Airbnb, they made a recent announcement on new services that they're offering. Why has this stirred up such strong reactions from hosts?
Yeah, I mean, the big announcement, there was 3 real big announcements. Obviously, they've totally revamped homes. You can see that on their app now when you load it up. They've brought back experiences, which I think is going to be a really good move from them. Obviously, they learned the lesson when they first brought it out, and they've revamped it, rebrought it out, and I feel like that's going to be a success. But they also sort of snuck in a third category, which is they're putting a lot of money into this. So spent $100 million in investment into this. So obviously, they feel like this is going to be a real big play for them, and it's called Airbnb Services. And this is the one that's got a lot of attention to it from a lot of people. And I think the reason being why is if you look at it from a boardroom point of view, from a shareholder point of view, when they're sort of putting this together, it makes a ton of sense. Airbnb has only grown about 5-6% in America, in the United States. So it looks from a shareholder point of view, it could be going stagnated. They need to create what they've called these different arms to the business that will generate multi-billions of dollars in extra revenue. Services is such a home run because when people are staying in an Airbnb, staying in your properties, they're already probably going and getting massages, they might be getting photo shoots, they may be using personal trainers, private chefs, you name it. They've brought out a selection of 10 to 12 categories. I guarantee they're looking at adding more and more depending on how this rollout goes. And there's a lot of your listeners and your watchers who will already be offering this in-house anyway. You know, they'll be offering upsells, they'll be offering whatever you want to do as part of your upsell package. And the reason why it has caught a lot of attention is that Airbnb are putting all of the risk on the host, all of the risk on the business owner without any of the benefits. If they'd have turned around and go, right, we're launching services, we're now going to open up your property to so many other variables as part of the stay, let's just say private chefs. And if anybody books a private chef, brings them into your property, and then for everyone that does, you'll get a little bit of cut of the money, I think everybody would have been fine about it, but they're not. And, you know, all of the risk is now on the host because there's a very gray area on, let's just say a private chef comes into your property and burns the place down or makes a mark on the kitchen top, etc. Who is covering that? Who is responsible for that? And it's still a very gray area on that. And that's just one scenario. There's like personal trainers, masseuse, etc. So yeah, there's loads of risk. There's absolutely zero benefit for you, the host. And so I've been in these Facebook groups, in LinkedIn, on Instagram, just as I always am, just keeping a little eye of what the vibe is going on. And there's a lot of upset people. So for the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, I've been running webinars, live calls, doing posts, just showing people exactly how to opt out if you want to do so, the benefits of opting out. And also as well then how to then build your own, because there are so many cool, easy ways on how to build your own if you're not already.
Yeah, that was really interesting. It got me really thinking about the idea of services and people coming into your home that you don't know about and liability. Then I recalled talking to an insurance agent here in Ontario, and I think, we were discussing weddings and people having weddings in properties and not letting the host know. They were having a wedding. You know, we'll rent this property for 6 people and then midweek we'll bring in 50 more. And this insurance agent was telling me about an incident that happened where a wedding took place in a property with a host absolutely unaware that this was occurring. And an outside officiant came in, and that officiant, walking across the landscaped or less than landscaped yard, because we don't have much landscaping here, thankfully, tripped over a tree root and fell and severely broke his ankle. He then sued the property owner and the property manager, and he won. Well, they settled for a large amount of money. Now, fortunately, both the property owner and the property manager were insured, so it all got settled away from them. But the stress that was involved was massive, and no amount of the manager or the owner saying we had this person was essentially trespassing on the property. But the fact that they had been invited by the guest changed everything, apparently. And that, as soon as I saw services, and I thought, these people are coming in, and you just said maybe they light a fire, they do something. But what happens if they hurt themselves? If they trip over a rug, which of course, Justin Ford would say you should not have any dangerous rugs. But what happens if they trip and they slip and they smash their head and do something really nasty? They could sue the host and the manager. And it just blows me away. So, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing Airbnb have these insurance aspects of it in place, but do we know that?
Well, it is like I say, it's very grey. It's 100% grey. And if you were to call your Airbnb support manager, account manager now, unfortunately, whatever message hasn't been passed down properly, because you call 3 different people, you get 3 different answers at the moment. It's the same thing with the off platform policy. You speak to 3 different people, you get 3 different answers. And, it's obviously going to happen in such a big company. The message isn't going to get passed right. That's why it's so grey at the moment. And so this is why it's super important to opt out. And the good news is it is really easy. Number one, you call your agent, your Airbnb agent, just call the help desk and just say, hey, I want to opt out. B, you back yourself up by sending a message via the app or via an email. And number 3, in your house rules, you put some very clear text just to say that you do not work with any third-party agents. You do not allow services. What we've done is we've actually, with the beauty of ChatGPT, we've created some really strong wording that you can use. If we've been spreading it around the communities, we've been spreading it around the Boostly community. If anybody would like a copy of it, easiest thing to do, send me a message on Instagram. It's Boostly UK, Boostly UK. Send me a message that just says Airbnb rules, house rules. There's one of those. Send me that and I'll know what you're talking about and I'll send you the document. If you don't use Instagram, and if you would prefer to get it on email, just drop an email, mark@boostly.co.uk. I'm more than happy to share with you what we're sharing, and it is working. Another thing that no one's really talked about as well is the review. Like, we all know how important reviews are for our business and our industry. We live and die by them. Let's just say another example, again, say the guest has a masseuse that comes in to your property, has a really bad massage. Whether you like it or not, the guest it will associate that massage with their stay and your property. And when they come to leave a review, they will mark you down for it. And if you think that won't be the case, I have had a guest leave me a 3-star review, loved the property, Mark was brilliant, family was fantastic, everything was great, but it rained for 3 days straight. I was like, I cannot control the weather. So if a guest is complaining about rain, marking me down for rain, they're going to 100% mark you down for a masseuse. And just very quickly on the opt-out, I've talked a lot about opting out. I've shown people how to opt out. The first kickback and the first throwback to me is, but Mark, won't Airbnb mark me down on the algorithm if I opt out? Again, we've had it agreed and double agreed by several people, experts, Airbnb themselves, to say it is totally separate. If you opt out, it will not affect your ranking on Airbnb in any way, shape, or form. So it is safe to do so.
Oh, that is great. That was great, because I had not heard that you could do that and not be penalised. Because I've just seen the questions, a lot of questions. Am I going to be penalised by doing this? So
I think that what's going to happen, and we have to vote on our feet here. This is one of the things that they're testing to see what the sentiment is. I mean, guests will love this. Okay, the guests will love this. I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and LinkedIn, if we go outside of our hospitality bubble, the other tech bros are absolutely loving this. But from a host point of view, if you do not like this, you cannot just go, oh, I don't like this. You've got to actually do something about it. You have got to message and opt out. And if enough people opt out, I feel like that is where we get the attention. Now, we're not, this is not to slate Airbnb. Obviously, we love Airbnb and all that good stuff. But if there's something that you do not like, we have to do this as a whole. It can't just be me talking about it. We all have to do it, because I think what will happen is they'll become a little toggle. Yeah. And they'll ask if you want to opt into it or opt out. You are automatically being opted in 250 cities around the world. And yes, if you go on to Airbnb now, like I literally did before we came live, I had a look, and there's been more and more services are being added, photography, massage, etc. There's still nothing in my local town, but I can look city of Leeds, which is nearby, Manchester, Liverpool, they have them, and there's more and more being added all the time. So again, just to cover your back, follow those 3 simple steps, opt out via phone, message, and put it in your house rules, and it covers your back. But then the good news is, and this is what I love, is that Airbnb have done the research, $100 million plus of research. You now know, and they've given you the category of what it's called. It's no longer going to be called upsells. It can be called services. We have redesigned all of our Boostly websites to mirror this. So when you come onto a Boostly website that we design, in the menu bar at the top, we've got rid of all of the clutter, and we've just kept homes, experiences, services. And now we're showing people how to build your own version with people that you can vet people that you recommend. But most importantly, if a guest books their services, you get a little bit of money as well. So it's worth the risk.
Yeah, and I think I should bring up this topic of insurance again, because I think this is something that you would have to also talk to your insurance company about.
100%.
And that's maybe something I can for our US audience talk to Nick Massey of Proper Insurance about, because I know he's probably jumped on that one.
Yeah, well, I'm amazed that more people aren't talking about this. I truly am. Like you mentioned Justin Ford, Proper Insurance. I'm amazed that I've not seen it, and I do look everywhere, and I've not seen more and more people talking about this. Maybe they don't want to piss off Airbnb. I don't know, but I'm just saying, to a point where, again, this needs to be talked about, because my worry is that 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, there could be something that happens. And, the host, if they just had that little bit of education, if more people were talking about it, then they could have protected themselves. So yeah, it's definitely something that we need to be more wary of.
Yeah, I mean, it's dear to my heart, because having been a property manager, I know that if there is any claim on insurance against a host, the manager also gets brought in. They deliver claims to everybody that may possibly be involved. The host, the manager, the cleaner, the maintenance man, they'll spread it around. A bit like spaghetti against the wall. Something will stick somewhere and somebody will pay it up. Or they'll find somebody that's not insured. And that's a whole other topic for those who simply rely on Airbnb's host insurance. Just a little plea from me that does not mean that you are fully insured to rent your home to third parties, to other people. And I think this Airbnb services just brings in this another level of risk.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Switching gears.
Let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about some fun stuff.
Let's talk about AI. You've been diving deep. I know you've created a couple of communities. There's the WhatsApp community. Yesterday, I came out from under my bucket, and where I've been lurking for ever since you invited me into that WhatsApp group. I've been sitting there. I've been reading all the messages and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not experienced enough to jump in and make a comment. But in fact, there are people in there that are just starting out with this, and really interested to find out what's going on in the AI world as it relates to short-term rentals and vacation property management. And so I took my head above the sand and I made a post. I posted.
It was amazing to see. It was amazing to see. I mean, like we've got everybody in there, from Gray and Donahue of the Sykes group, who is very much into this, from hosts that are literally just starting to dabble, and we've even got people in there. It's basically, the group that I created is called Geeking Out on AI, and I've got friends from other industries that are in there, and everybody. And I always say there's no silly question, and I love seeing people jump in and share an image they've created. And we've got a chap called Chris Poulter, UK-based, very smart individual. When I talk to him, I feel like my brain is just going like 100 miles an hour, because he is so bright on this, and he's trying to obviously create businesses around this. And yeah, it's amazing to see what we can see in there. And it's in an AI WhatsApp group at the moment. We've also got a little Slack community going. Again, if anybody would like to be a part of it, even if you just want to be a fly on the wall, then just, again, send me that email. I'm more than happy to give you the link. But yeah, it's good. It's great. I'm learning loads. There's loads of tools that we can play with in there. But yeah, it's just good to be talking about it with like a group of other people. And it's, it's not dictated by LinkedIn algorithms or Facebook algorithms or Instagram algorithms. It's just in there. It's a group chat, and you can scroll up and down and catch up when you want. Yes,
I was sitting there prepping for this morning, and my phone's going ping, 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 and I thought, oh yeah, that was you messaging me. But quite often it's just something else that's coming up on that WhatsApp group, and I've learned from it, and it sent me down some rabbit holes, and some very useful rabbit holes. So, can you share any of the more innovative and maybe surprising ways members are using tools?
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of the time, what I'm getting from it is I'm probably at that level where my knowledge is maybe going 6 into 7 out of 10. Mm-hmm. And for me now, it's about trying to stay ahead. So how can I keep Boostly and my personal growth ahead of the curve? So whatever way this pivots, then I'm ready to capitulate on it. So one of the things that we've recently done is we've started to use make.com, make.com. And make.com, the best way that I describe it is it's like Zapier on speed. It's so much more than what Zapier is. And I love Zapier. I've got a pro account. I feel like I've got 40,000 zaps running every single month, and it does a lot, and it's definitely helped me automatize a lot of what we do at Boostly. But Make just takes it to the next level. So we can
you just give a quick breakdown, very simple breakdown in 8th grade language of what make.com is and what it does?
Yeah. So for example, I feel like if you see or hear anybody talking about AI agents is like the new buzzword, and you see a lot of people talking about these AI agents. Basically, it just means workflows. So there was a tool that I used to use back in the day, if it was called. So if this happens, then, if this happens, then do it. And these workflows are basically what make.com are all about. So for example, a trigger will be if something happens. So I'll use it a scenario how we're using it. So the trigger is a demo call is booked at Boostly. Okay, that is the trigger. Our CRM sends the trigger to Make just to say, right, a demo call has been booked. And there's an expression that gets used a lot in sales, which is called speed to lead. And we have at Boostly an appointment setter. And the appointment setter is based in America, and when a call gets booked to speak to our specialist about working with Boostly, their job is to call that lead and just qualify them to make sure that they understand fully what Boostly does. And then we've got to make sure that they are qualified to work with us, because not everybody is suited to work with us. Now, the appointment setter is fantastic, but they only work a couple of hours a day. They have to do things like sleep and have life and stuff. And sometimes we get calls that are booked, depending on the time zone or where they are in the world. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning, and our appointments there, as good as they are, they're asleep at 1 o'clock in the morning. And so we miss an opportunity to speak to the host who wants to work with us, so that when our specialist speaks to it, it's really cold. So the call can go one of several different ways, depending on the person and what they think of Boostly and what they know about Boostly. So we have got Make programmed in. So when a call gets booked, the make.com triggers. And then what we're able to do with our workflow is that we have programmed in another bit of kit and another software called retell.ai. And retell.ai is a voice agent. So this took us about a day to program. So it's an AI agent. We train the voice. So I could voice clone it on my accent, which is very hard to do because I've got this weird Yorkshire English accent that's lived in America, lived in Australia sort of accent thing going on. So a very scraggy accent, as I call it, which we decided not to do. And so we had a lovely British accent that we called Laura. So and Laura AI will then call the person who's booked a call within 2 minutes. So just at the point of them booking the call, doesn't matter whether it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the morning, whenever they've booked it, then the call goes in. They have a call and they've got a script. And all of this is done in retell.ai. And the script is a very simple, just making sure that they understand what Boostly is, ask a couple of questions, and the AI is trained to have a very human conversation. In fact, out of the 100 calls that it's done, only a handful of them have said, "Are you a robot?" Which is really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I need to hear this.
Yes. Well, book a call at Boostly. So the call isn't to sell, right? I truly don't think that any AI agent is there to actually sell a product or a thing. But for triage, it's phenomenal. And again, we mentioned Graham Donahue at Sykes. He has got his version for Sykes, for customers asking questions. I literally took conversation with Graham and built this with his son, actually, Joe Donahue, and we built this at Boostly. And the cool thing about Make is that the call happens, the transcript, because of the workflow, then gets sent to our specialist, it gets sent to our appointment setter, and all of the notes get left in our CRM. So when our appointment setter starts work, they'll see the conversation that's happened. And if they want to deep dive into any other questions, they can then contact the host and just give a quick call, give a quick text and just say, hey, you said this to Laura, but can we just delve in a few bits more? And then Paul's got those notes as well. So when Paul gets on the phone with our host, and Paul's our specialist, he's got everything that he needs. We know the host is being qualified, and it makes the call so much more effective. So much so now that the success rate, so the close rate of our calls have jumped up to about 70%,
wow,
which is really good because it was averaging about 1 in 3, so about 33%. So it's mean we've got better quality calls. The host is more aware of what they are when speaking with Boostly. And that's just one way that we've been using Make. And I could never have done that with Zapier.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
I discovered Make through our group chat. There's a couple of other high-end workflows, but Make is the one that we've been using.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yes, we're exploring it right now because we've just been using Zapier. So
yes.
And then, of course, beyond that is N8N, which I was talking to a developer the other day. So I only work in N8N, and I'm thinking, I need to know what, if I'm going to get a developer to do some work for us on agents, which we're doing right now, is I need to understand what's on the back end. And yeah.
I had to learn it as well. And I wanted to, so I got to a point where I was with AI, where I was just like, right, there's all of this overwhelm. I'm just going to wait for Google or Apple or Amazon or whatever. They're just going to build it into my device, right? And I was just going to wait for that unless I could have somebody that would create it for me. And luckily I met, Graham's son, Joe, and he helped build that out for me. He used Make as his one of choice. And a couple of videos, quick watch, he was able to explain it. And, I'm aware of it now. So he's passed it back over to me and I'm using it. Yeah. And, if I can use it, anyone can use it, because we've got a couple of different scenarios now where we use it, not just for triage and a call, but we've got a couple of others. So again, make.com is good. And it's not just for voice, you can have other things, but I feel like that's the best way for me to describe it is how we're using it. So it's like Zapier, but just the next level.
Okay. I want to step back a bit because people listening might be thinking, well, I'm still out here thinking I haven't got a clue. I'm just using ChatGPT as Google, basically.
Yes.
So if we're going back to that level, which is absolutely brilliant, and you can use ChatGPT as Google, essentially. But what's the next step up? And I mean, for me, it's creating GPTs, but doing it in the right way. So can you give us some idea of how to create, let's go with what a GPT is, and then how to create a simple one for just a specific function, a nice starting point.
Starting point.
Yeah.
So I feel like GPTs, people get confused with ChatGPT. So because of how obviously it's named and whatnot. But I think the best way to describe, there's ChatGPT and there's GPTs. So general ChatGPT, when you open it up, and you chat just playing with it without doing anything, you are chatting with the latest model. So let's just say it's 4.40, because that's the one that people are mostly using now. And you ask a question, and the advice it will give back to you is generic. Okay, it's going to go out into the world and bring back the information that is generic. It's not trained on anything specific. So a GPT means that it is trained on a specific core subject matter. So it's free to do, easy to do. There's a section on the left-hand side that's the taskbar. On the left-hand side, there will be GPTs. And you've got two options. Number one, when you open up GPTs, there will be like an app store for GPTs. So you can go in there if you want to search for anything. So for example, I mentioned that we're looking at buying a new house at some point. There was a GPT for the UK buying advice. So it's an actual part of ChatGPT, a GPT that I can use for free that has been trained solely on buying a house in the UK. And I can ask it questions, and it's not going to give me the latest advice from America or Canada or Australia, wherever in the world. It's going to be based on the UK. Okay. So you can either tap into one that somebody else has created. There's other cool GPTs that I've discovered for YouTube. So I'm using this specific GPT for YouTube advice for thumbnails, for titles, for intros, for scripts. This is all free. You don't have to pay for this. And again, it's really cool for that. And we're also using them for Instagram captions, Instagram titles, Instagram ideas, you name it, there's a GPT for you. The other thing that you can do is you can create your own. And the best thing, and I'm going to assume that the majority of people that are listening to this are going to be hosts themselves or property managers, is you can create a GPT for one of your properties. So for example, when you open it up, you've got a chance to train that GPT. If you're using, let's just say, if you've got SOPs, so standard operating procedures, makes life super simple. You can just put it into a PDF, upload the PDF. You can upload up to 20 documents, I believe. So you can upload any TouchStay digital guidebooks that you have, any SOPs that you have. You can just, for this one property, you can just upload it and plug it all in. So that way, when you ask it a question, the answers it will give you are based solely on that property. Now, what you could do is when you want to publish it, you've got 3 options. Number 1, private, just for you. That means only you and your account can ask it questions. Number 2, you get a public link. So the only way that somebody would access it is with a link that you would get for it, like a unique link for that GPT. So that means you can, for example, share it on a message, a text message, digital guidebook with your guests as they're about to check in. And number 3 is sending it to the App Store for the GPT store. I wouldn't feel like you need to do it for that for any reason, shape or form. But that is a super, super simple way for you, because then what you can do is that you can give it to guests, you can train it so that if a VA, say you're using a VA and you're training up a VA, and they've got a question, we'll just say, well, ask the bot. There's so many different ways that you can use it, but it's such a simple route. And again, I wouldn't do it for all of your company. I would do it for individual properties that you have underneath your property management.
Yeah. And for me, it goes back to renting out my own properties and having a drawer in the property that had a whole stack of the manuals for the stove and for the dishwasher, because everything had the troubleshooting. I mean, this was before you could actually go search and find the PDFs for each one online. But now you can just simply upload all of those PDFs, find those PDFs, upload them into your GPT. And then if a guest has, something's not happening properly I've got one of these, what do you call it? The stovetop that is automatic.
Sorry.
Oh,
I know air fryers, and that's about it. My knowledge.
Yeah. Induction. I've got an induction cooktop. And time again, I've had it for about a year now, but it still blows me away that I press a button and nothing happens. And I still go back to the troubleshooting guide quite often. But so if you've got a guest and that happens, they've got immediately on hand, they can say, I've got a problem with this cooktop and this is the problem, and the GPT will go to that part of the guide and find the results.
And the guest can even video call as well. So I mentioned before in one of our previous episodes that my Alfie is a budding little entrepreneur. He's 12 years old. He's started up his own business, 3D printing business. So it's called Magical Models, and he's got an Etsy store and he's loving life. But this 3D printer that he's bought, it breaks a lot. I don't know the first thing about fixing a 3D printer, but all we do is we literally open up ChatGPT. Before we know it, the ChatGPT is telling us what to do. And it's just by putting it into video mode and pointing it at the printer, which it's massive. It saves hours of searching on YouTube and whatnot. And it is very good. And, I mentioned that we're still a ways, but it's happening where the general public will soon have this available more. We are weeks away from Amazon launching Alexa Plus. And Alexa Plus is basically going to be powered by Claude. And these Alexa devices that we have, you'll pay a bit of a premium on it, but it'll be powered by Claude and powered by AI. So when you ask Alexa a question at the moment, the answer you get is like me talking to my 2-year-old.
Yeah.
It's
I know
ridiculous.
this. Yeah.
But it's going to get better. And just imagine in your property, you'll have an Alexa device powered by Alexa Plus, and you'll be able to properly talk to it, and it'll be trained solely on the property and where you are, etc. So it's going to become massively more known very, very, very soon. So the way that you can get ahead of everybody else, the better.
Yeah, I mean, it is multiplying. It's like a virus multiplying so quickly, yes. And so many iterations of it. It is difficult to keep up. You were going to show us something. You were going to demo something, and I'm really interested in this because I'm still not quite sure what it is you're going to demo.
So what I brought to you was a very simple GPT. So something that is trained solely on a specific topic. So I wanted to demo a more advanced version of a GPT. So I've used a company called Delphi, Delphi, Delphi.ai. And what Delphi has done is it has created my digital twin. So there is a digital twin now of Mark Simpson. And it's a specific domain that you go to. So it's not on the GPT store. You can go to it at any point. It's free. And at any time, go to boostly.co.uk/BOT, bot. And you can chat with me. And this bot, this digital twin, is trained solely on me. So it's the books that I've published, every single YouTube video, and there's about 1,000 YouTube videos now, every podcast that we've done, and we're closing in on 800 podcasts, every blog post, everything that we have done, everything that I've put out there, it is trained on. And you can text it, you can video call it, and you can actually call it as well. So I wanted to give you a super quick demo. Now we were going to do video, but we couldn't share it. So instead, I've got my phone, and it's going to be right here. And I just wanted to give you like an idea of what we could do at a bit like an advanced level. So you're going to be able to have a chat, Heather, with my digital twin. So hello there. I want for you to say hello, please, to Heather.
Hey, how can I help you?
Did you hear that?
I did hear that. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so please say hi to Heather.
Hi, Heather. Lovely to have you here. How's everything going on your end?
Did you hear that?
I did.
Okay, so can you please give advice to a host or a property manager who would be interested in getting 1 or 2 direct bookings this weekend? What's something they could do?
If you're looking to snag 1 or 2 direct bookings this weekend, here's what I'd suggest. First, tap into your existing network. Send a quick email or message to past guests, letting them know you've got availability and maybe even offer.
So that's going to go on for a while there. So, but you can do cool things like that. And then what you can actually do is if you were to sort of speak to it and give it like some context, you could say, hey, so my business is called X, Y, and Z. I've got this property that sleeps 5 people's. I've got a pretty big email list. Could you craft together for me an email to send out to somebody? It will personalize it for you and your business. And I've had lots of people chat with this over the last year. There's lots of people, and I see all of the threads that come in because I get an email, a daily digest of the conversations that are going on, because it helps me create content because people say what they're struggling with, etc. And I've had people speak to it in Spanish, in French, Portuguese, German, and it speaks back Spanish, Portuguese, German. So it's really, really cool. For me, it's amazing. And then obviously for hosts, they can get hold of Boostly 24/7, and it's like I say, totally free. But that's like the more advanced version. So with a little bit of editing, that'll look really cool.
Well, I'm surprised at how many people just aren't using voice, just with general chat GPT. I think voice comes with the pro plan, doesn't it? I don't think you get voice on the...
Again, $20 a month.
Yeah, that's it. And it just... I was talking to a company recently, and she said, "Oh no, we don't have we don't have the paid plan." And apart from the fact they're sharing that all the people in their business who are using ChatGPT are sharing business information that is then not private. Yeah, I did encourage that.
It's the best investment I feel like is truly out there at the present moment in time for $20 a month. And it doesn't matter which sort of large language model you choose, whether you want to go down the route of OpenAI or cloud or whatever you want to do, Grok, but it truly is like a really big investment. And what you get back is massive. Like, so I think, I feel like by now, if you're tuning into this series, you've at least dipped a toe. And what I wanted to do on this is obviously come on and yes, share a little bit about Airbnb services, but also as well show the cool things that you can do within GPTs and voice, video. It's phenomenal, and just be able to to train your guest, as well, and how to use it would be pretty cool.
So what would you say is the first thing that somebody, we've got a listener here who hasn't, maybe this is their first episode, who hasn't dipped their toes. What is the, what's their first thing that they should do, apart from buying the $20 version, $20 a month version of ChatGPT?
Go and grab the version, and I would go into the settings, and there's a bit where you can customize it. So you can customize it and basically fill it in based on you. So train it on you, which is big because it's got memory now. And then just make a point of every day, just for 5-10 minutes, to just ask it questions. Mm-hmm. Anything that you can think that can come to mind, and just let it roll, let it go. And then once you get that little bit more confident with it, once you use it for a week, start to have a little look around the GPT store, etc. There's so many ways that you can use it. It's phenomenal. And just go and maybe download and install one that's already on the store, then look at creating your own, and then just adding to it. Just spend 5 to 10 minutes every day just having a play with it. And now a Boostly, for example, we have the pro account. So the one that's above, we pay $200 a month, and we have our team in there because we've got it now using the codex, we've got it using operator, we've got it doing deep research and all those cool things that we're using it for. And every single member of our team, because the majority of our team are in Pakistan and the Philippines, behind the scenes in the dev part of Boostly, they never respond to an email without it running it through GPT just to check on spelling, grammar, making sure it's found friendly, polite, etc. And not one person, not one customer has pulled them up and gone, "Is it done by GPT?" Our customer satisfaction is the best it's ever been. Our NPS scores is the highest it's ever been, and the amount of tickets that we are getting through, bearing in mind we have 1,000 tickets coming every single week because of the level of customers that we have, the amount of people that we have, nearly 1,000 websites. We can fly through these now a whole lot quicker because of ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's terrific. It's amazing to see how far the business has come over the years, Mark. Yeah. And I fully applaud you for what you've put into it, and now how you're developing, and weaving AI into every part of it. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how best you have mentioned your email. Is that the best way for them to connect with you?
I think the easiest thing, like I said, if you want a copy of the Airbnb, how to opt out, just send me a message on Instagram. Boostly UK is by far the easiest on Instagram. Send me that message. Just say rules, house rules, Airbnb rules, and I'll get that to you. If you don't use Instagram, you really don't like it, then just drop me an email, mark@boostly.co.uk, and maybe a bit longer to reply, because as you can imagine, my inbox gets a little bit crazy nowadays.
Okay, I'll make sure that that's on the show notes. We could talk forever on this. I will head back to the WhatsApp group, and I haven't yet got into the Slack group. I will send you the email address to use.
Jump on in, and if anybody else would like to jump in and be a fly on the wall, again, just send us an email or Instagram. I'm more than happy to send it over. The only thing that I ask, and I let Heather off, but I just ask you to just jump in and engage. Have a chat, ask a question. There is no silly questions in the group, and so we've got a real good group. And like I said, the level of people that are in there, we've got like the founder of Journey in there, we've got so many people in there that are just phenomenal people, and it'd be awesome to have more people in. We're about just under 100, so
yeah. And I see a lot of people in there who've been on the podcast in the past. We weren't talking Rachel Gainsborough. She's in that group all the time. She was on the podcast a year or two back. We weren't talking about AI, but but she has a huge amount to offer.
Yeah, massively. Well, we'll speak a lot, Rachel and I, about things behind the scenes and whatnot. So yeah, it's great. I mean, I love seeing how people are adapting to it, and I feel like we are still so early in this vicinity. There's so many people that I look up to, and they're not. I don't think they're even using it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you start now, just spend 5-10 minutes a day, you will truly be ahead of 99% of your competition.
Yeah, and if I can do it, Anybody can.
That's what I've been saying. If I can do it, I'm an idiot. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And I just like, I've got a very addictive personality. If I'd latch on to something, I will go all in on it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we probably share that trait.
Yeah.
Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Always a pleasure to have you on to talk about direct booking and now AI. And I'm sure we will be back again at some point in the future.
Anytime. More than happy to. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mark Simpson. Yet another AI-infused episode. If you are listening to this, of course, on the Straight Chat podcast, then you will be completely expecting it to be fully on AI. And for those of you listening, thinking, well, what is the Straight Chat podcast? It is a podcast that is just devoted to AI in short-term rentals. I'll put a link to it in the show notes so you can go check that out. So it is just focused on AI, and that is all. Okay, that's it for another week. Maybe we'll come back next week with something that is not related to AI, but the fact that AI is infused into just about everything we do these days, it's hard to keep it out, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyhow, thank you, as always, for being with me. It's always just so great to sit here in my little basement studio and know that you're out there listening to me. It makes it feel all worthwhile. So if you get a chance to write a review on whatever platform you are listening to this on, that would be really great. The more good reviews we get, the more people come and listen to the shows. So thank you once again for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. It's been a pleasure as ever being with you. If there's anything you'd like to comment on, then join the conversation on the show notes for the episode at vacationrentalformula.com. We'd love to hear from you, and I look forward to being with you again next week.